China's Economic Explained. Growth, Trade, and Demographics. China, the world's second-largest economy, the factory of the planet, and a key player in global markets. But behind its incredible growth are some serious challenges. In today's video, we're diving into China's economic future, including its rapid growth and what's changing, the impact of international trade tensions, a looming demographic time bomb, and the bold policies shaping its path forward. If you're into global finance, economics, or investing, this one's for you. Let's get into it. 1. China's economic growth. Let's start with the big picture. China's growth over the past 40 years is historic. Since the 1980s, it has lifted over 800 million people out of poverty, becoming a manufacturing superpower and tech innovator. But that growth is slowing. In the early 2000s, GDP grew by 10% annually. Today, it's hovering around 4 to 5%. Why? Because China is shifting. From exports to consumption, from quantity to quality, from investment-led to innovation-driven. This transition is necessary, but it's not easy. Add rising debt, a cooling real estate sector, and declining global demand, and you've got a complex economic puzzle to solve. 2. China and international trade. China is the largest exporter in the world, but global trade is changing. Let's look at a few key dynamics. U.S.-China trade war. Tariffs, tech bans, and political friction have impacted everything from semiconductors to soybeans. China Plus One strategy. Many global companies are diversifying supply chains. They're no longer only in China. They're adding countries like Vietnam, India, and Mexico. Belt and Road Initiative. China's trillion-dollar global infrastructure project aims to strengthen trade ties with over 140 countries. So, yes, China is still central to world trade, but it's facing more pushback, more competition, and more pressure to innovate. Still, when China slows down, the whole world feels it, especially commodity-exporting countries and emerging markets. 3. The demographic challenge. Now, let's talk about one of China's biggest long-term threats, its population decline. Here are the facts. In 2023, China's population shrank for the first time in 60-plus years. The birth rate is at a historic low. By 2050, over 30% of the population will be over age 60. Why does this matter? Because demographics drive economics. Fewer workers equals slower growth. More retirees equals higher social spending. Shrinking population equals less consumer demand. And here's the kicker. This is happening before China has become a high-income country. It's what economists call growing old before growing rich. The government has scrapped the one-child policy and is offering incentives for families, but it might be too late. This creates long-term challenges for pensions, healthcare, and labor supply. China's economic policy today. How is China responding to all this? Let's look at some key policy shifts. Dual circulation strategy. Focus on boosting domestic consumption and maintaining export competitiveness. Tech self-reliance. China is pouring billions into AI, semiconductors, and green energy to reduce dependence on the West. Crackdowns on private sector. Big tech firms like Alibaba and Didi have been under heavy regulation, signaling tighter political control over the economy. Property market crisis. Real estate giants like Evergrande and Country Garden have collapsed under debt. The government is trying to stabilize the housing market, but the ripple effects are huge. China's central bank is also easing monetary policy, lowering interest rates to stimulate spending, but confidence remains low. In short, the government wants control, stability, and long-term reform, but they're balancing a lot of risk. 5. Global ambitions and soft power. Despite challenges, China has big plans. It's investing heavily in Africa and Latin America through infrastructure deals, digital yuan as a central bank digital currency, space exploration, AI, and quantum computing. Geopolitically, China is positioning itself as an alternative to Western dominance, building new trade alliances, challenging the U.S. dollar supremacy, and strengthening ties with BRICS nations. So while internal growth is slowing, China is thinking global, long-term, strategic, and often behind the scenes. 6. What this means for you investing/finance. So, what are the takeaways for you as an investor or financially minded viewer? 1. Diversify globally. China's slowdown affects markets worldwide. 2. Watch commodity markets. China is a top consumer of oil, copper, steel, etc. 3. Stay alert to policy shifts. Sudden regulatory moves can tank entire sectors. 4. Emerging market risk is rising, especially in Asia. 5. Innovation matters. China is competing in EVs, fintech, and AI. China isn't collapsing. It's evolving, and how it handles its next decade will shape the global economy for generations. To wrap this up, China has gone from miracle to mature, and now faces its toughest test, growing wisely, not just fast. If you found this breakdown helpful, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more content on finance, economics, and investing around the world. Drop a comment. Do you think China's economy will thrive, stagnate, or decline over the next decade? I'd love to hear your take. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.